Welcome to the most exciting coin discovery of your life. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and ultra-rare bicentennial coins, an ordinary-looking coin with the power to make you a millionaire overnight. If you've got this hidden gem in your pocket, your entire future could change in an instant. Let's unlock the secrets behind this legendary piece of treasure. First up, the 1968 Australia 10-cent coin stands today as one of the most fascinating treasures of the early decimal era, carrying with it a deep historical resonance that few collectors fully appreciate. Struck only a couple of years after Australia transitioned from pounds, shillings, and pence to its modern decimal system in 1966, this coin represents a period of national transformation and monetary modernization. Even in very dirty condition, its age and origin give it an authenticity that makes collectors pause, and when examined closely, the traces of time etched into its metal actually help tell the story of its journey through decades of circulation, pockets, tills, and forgotten drawers. As one of the early decimal circulation coins, it forms a cornerstone of Australia's numismatic timeline, symbolizing the country's shift into a new economic identity. Although commonly mistaken as a basic cupronickel issue, expert collectors often highlight its distinctive copper brightness beneath the nickel surface, which becomes more noticeable in dirty, aged, or oxidized pieces. This subtle copper presence gives older 10-cent coins their unique tone variation, something that collectors adore because it shows genuine aging patterns. Over more than half a century, many pieces from 1968 have lost their luster or endured harsh environmental conditions, making truly fine, sharp-detail examples extremely rare. Coins from this year that retain clean rims, crisp Queen Elizabeth II bust details, and strong lyrebird tail feathers stand out like jewels among ordinary worn pieces. This scarcity, especially in very fine or higher conditions, has elevated their desirability significantly among advanced numismatists. Because so many 1968 10-cent coins were lost, destroyed, heavily circulated, or simply damaged by time, the value of those surviving in excellent preservation has skyrocketed in recent years. Even very dirty coins that maintain structural integrity and original detail underneath can command impressive prices once cleaned professionally or conserved properly through non-damaging methods. Market estimates often place these coins anywhere from $1,000 to $9,000 or more depending on grading results, historical interest, and specific collector demand. What makes this value even more intriguing is that the coin began as a simple piece of everyday currency, never intended to enter the world of high-value collectibles. Its rise in price demonstrates the power of rarity, historical relevance, and the passion of collectors willing to pay premium amounts for the best-preserved examples. The growing demand for early decimal Australian coins has turned the 1968 10-cent piece into an unexpected investment powerhouse. Collectors and investors alike increasingly view it not just as a nostalgic artifact, but as a long-term appreciating asset. Coins from transitional economic eras often experience late-stage value explosions when new generations of collectors emerge, and that is precisely what is happening today. More and more buyers, both local and international, are searching for the earliest decimal issues to complete premium sets, and the 1968 10-cent coin sits right in the middle of this rising trend. Its upward value trajectory shows no signs of slowing, especially as top-grade examples become scarcer each year. For collectors hoping to secure or maximize the value of their 1968 specimen, focusing on condition is essential. A coin may look dirty at first glance, but what really matters is the preservation of details beneath the surface grime. The fewer scratches, rim dings, and surface abrasions present, the higher the potential grade and market price. Professional grading by trusted services adds credibility, ensures authenticity, and protects the coin from environmental damage. Understanding grading standards, ranging from fine to extremely fine to mint state, can make the difference between purchasing an ordinary coin and acquiring a numismatic treasure that can multiply in value. Patience is vital. Rushing to buy the first coin available can mean missing out on a truly remarkable specimen. Beyond grading, joining numismatic communities, forums, and collector groups can provide invaluable insight into market shifts, conservation techniques, and acquisition opportunities. These communities often share deep knowledge about metal behavior, fake detection, and historical context, allowing new collectors to grow their understanding quickly. Many of the greatest finds in coin collecting occur not in auctions but through community connections, where collectors exchange pieces, stories, and expertise. For a coin like the 1968 Australia 10 cent, such networks can help collectors evaluate authenticity, compare details, understand rarity variations, and keep up with current trade values. Knowledge, more than anything else, becomes the shield that protects a collector's investment. Its place in numismatic history is cemented not just by rarity and value, but by symbolism. The 1968 10-cent coin stands as a reminder of Australia's cultural evolution, national identity, and artistic representation. The iconic lyrebird on its reverse reflects Australia's deep connection to nature and its unique wildlife, while the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth II marks a defining era of Commonwealth history. As an artifact, the coin unites art, economy, culture, and politics into a single small metal disc, making it more than just a collectible. It is a microchapter of Australian heritage preserved in metal. Over time, its international appeal has grown remarkably. Collectors from Europe, America, and Asia increasingly seek early decimal Australian coins, fascinated by their design, metal quality, and limited surviving populations. This global attention has strengthened the long-term appreciation of the 1968 10-cent coin, helping it evolve from a simple currency piece into a globally recognized collectible asset. As awareness spreads and top-grade examples become even harder to obtain, the long-term value of this coin is positioned to rise steadily. Whether cherished for its history, admired for its design, or secured as a strategic investment, the 1968 Australia 10-cent coin holds lasting significance and promises decades of appreciation and cultural relevance for collectors around the world. The 1968 Australia 10-cent coin continues to gain recognition, not only for its monetary value, but also for the mystery that surrounds many coins from this transitional era. A surprising number of these pieces show striking differences in tone, texture, and wear patterns, largely because early decimal coins were produced during a time of rapid industrial adjustment. Metal alloys varied slightly between batches, machinery experienced uneven pressure, and quality control was still being perfected. These small inconsistencies make each surviving coin feel slightly unique, adding to the charm and intrigue that collectors enjoy. When a coin displays unusual patina or unexpected coloration due to its copper-based alloy shining through years of oxidation, it becomes even more fascinating and collectible, especially when the underlying details remain sharp and intact. Collectors often emphasize that the 1968 10-cent coin represents one of the purest examples of how circulating currency can evolve into a premium numismatic artifact. Every scratch, stain, and layer of dirt becomes a clue to its journey through decades of Australian life. While many coins are valued primarily in pristine condition, this one holds a special appeal even when heavily worn, provided its core features remain readable. It reflects the passage of generations, from the early decimal shoppers of the late 1960s to the collectors of today who now search tirelessly for well-preserved or properly conserved examples. In this way, the coin becomes a time capsule, an object that carries emotional weight and historical continuity. As more collectors turn their attention to undervalued coins with strong historical significance, the 1968 10-cent has entered a new phase of appreciation. Investors are learning that coins from transitional periods often become the foundation of future high-value collections, especially when supply dwindles and demand rises steadily. The coin's affordable entry point years ago has now transformed into a remarkable climb toward multi-thousand-dollar valuations, especially for pieces that receive professional grading. This steady upward movement has inspired collectors to re-examine old coin jars, inherited family collections, and long-forgotten stashes, hoping to uncover a hidden gem from 1968 that may have been overlooked for decades. While many coins achieve fame for errors or extremely low mintages, the 1968 Australia 10-cent stands out because its value is driven by subtlety rather than sensationalism. It does not rely on dramatic minting accidents to capture attention. Instead, it represents the quieter side of numismatics, where significance comes from being part of a pivotal national transition and surviving long enough to become rare in desirable condition. This understated importance is often what draws serious collectors to it, because coins like this form the backbone of historical sets. They remind us that value can come not only from rarity but from resonance, from the story a coin carries, and from the moment in history it reflects. As time advances and Australia's early decimal coinage becomes more distant in memory, the 1968 10-cent coin will only grow in cultural and historical significance. Each passing decade increases the nostalgia and emotional depth associated with these coins, and as younger generations enter the hobby, they bring fresh interest and new perspectives. Its combination of rarity, artistic beauty, and national symbolism ensures it will continue rising in prominence. Not only does it hold the potential for long-term financial appreciation, but it also preserves a chapter of Australia's identity, one that collectors worldwide will cherish for generations to come. Second, the 1971 Australia 10-cent coin has become one of the most surprising treasures of the early decimal era, a coin that many once overlooked but now stands among the most sought-after pieces in Australian numismatics. Struck only a few years after Australia transitioned to decimal currency in 1966, it carries the story of a nation redefining its monetary identity and embracing a modern economic system. Even in very dirty condition, the 1971 issue holds a sense of history that collectors instinctively connect with, because every layer of grime and discoloration hints at decades of circulation, handling, and survival. As one of the earlier decimal-era circulation coins, it symbolizes the foundation of Australia's modern money system and serves as a tangible reminder of the country's shift into a new financial chapter. Although catalogued as a cupronickel piece, many advanced collectors recognize the subtle copper tones that surface as the coin ages or gathers dirt, giving it a warm underlayer that appears especially visible on circulated specimens. Over 50 years of exposure to pockets, wallets, humidity, and environmental changes have caused many 1971 coins to develop a distinct patina that makes them uniquely beautiful and identifiable. Yet beneath this aged surface lies a critical truth. Very fine or higher grade examples of this year are incredibly scarce. Most of the coins were heavily used, tossed in drawers, or slowly worn down until the fine details disappeared. Coins that retain sharp lines on the Queen's portrait, clear lettering, and strong lyrebird feather patterns are prized at a level that pushes their value into the thousands. Because so few high-grade examples remain, the market demand for the 1971 10-cent coin has surged dramatically in recent years. Collectors now pay significant sums for coins with good eye appeal, even if they begin in very dirty condition but show promise of detail beneath the grime. Depending on condition and grading outcomes, values can range anywhere from $1,000 to $9,000 or more, with some exceptionally preserved pieces selling even higher through specialized auctions. This dramatic rise in value is fueled by a combination of scarcity, historical importance, and growing international interest in early decimal Australian coinage. What makes this rise especially remarkable is that the coin began life as an ordinary piece of circulating currency. Now it stands as a premium collectible capable of transforming a forgotten coin jar discovery into a major investment. The investment potential of the 1971 10-cent coin continues to grow as collectors and investors recognize that early decimal issues form the backbone of future rare coin portfolios. Coins from transitional economic eras often experience a delayed explosion in value, and that surge is now firmly underway. The 1971 edition sits in a perfect position, old enough to be historically important, scarce enough to be worth high prices, yet still present in private collections waiting to be discovered. Its steady upward movement shows how the numismatic market rewards longevity, rarity, and cultural nostalgia. As collector groups expand and global interest increases, more buyers seek premium examples to complete early decimal sets, pushing demand higher each year. For collectors hopping to secure a valuable 1971 specimen, condition becomes the deciding factor. A coin may look dirty at first sight, but what matters most is the underlying preservation. If the rims remain strong, the profile of Queen Elizabeth II is crisp, and the lyrebird retains its fine feather detail, the coin may achieve a high grade even if the surface is discolored. Professional certification adds a layer of confidence and often increases value because it guarantees authenticity and provides protection through sealed holders. Understanding grading terms, from very fine to extremely fine to mint state, equips collectors to avoid overpriced worn pieces and to identify coins that truly deserve premium status. A patient approach often leads to far better long-term results than rushing to buy the first available example. Joining numismatic communities is one of the most valuable steps a collector can take when learning about rare coins like the 1971 10-cent. These groups offer resources, discussions, and shared expertise that can help collectors evaluate their coins accurately and avoid common pitfalls. Many of the most important discoveries come through community exchanges rather than large auctions. An active participation allows collectors to learn about metal composition, conservation methods, and the subtle markers that distinguish rare high-grade coins from ordinary circulation pieces. Through shared knowledge, collectors strengthen not only their skills, but also their confidence in navigating an increasingly competitive market for early decimal Australian coins. Its importance in numismatic history goes far beyond mintage figures or condition rarity. The 1971 Australia 10-cent coin reflects the cultural identity of a nation embracing modernity, all while retaining artistic expressions that speak to its natural beauty and heritage. The lyrebird, etched with flowing detail across the reverse, symbolizes Australia's deep connection to wildlife and the environment, while the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II marks a defining era of Commonwealth continuity. As a historical artifact, the coin condenses an entire chapter of Australian society, its economy, its artistry, and its national growth, into a small but powerful symbol. Today, its international appeal grows with every passing year. Collectors from Europe, the United States, and Asia increasingly pursue early decimal Australian coins because of their beauty, durability, and limited surviving populations. This global demand strengthens the long-term appreciation of the 1971 10-cent coin, ensuring that its value will continue rising as top-condition examples become scarcer. Whether admired for its design, pursued for its investment potential, or cherished as a piece of cultural history, the 1971 Australia 10-cent coin stands as a remarkable numismatic treasure, one whose importance and value will continue to expand for generations to come. The 1971 Australia 10-cent coin also carries an air of mystery that makes it especially appealing to serious collectors. Unlike some years where production details are well documented, the early 1970s saw fluctuations in demand, minting practices, and alloy consistency, leading to subtle variations that collectors still study today. These slight differences in sheen, strike strength, and surface tone are often most visible on coins that have gathered decades of dirt and patina, giving each piece an individual personality. For many numismatists, uncovering a rare, sharply struck coin hidden beneath years of grime feels like rediscovering a lost piece of Australian history, making the search for a premium 1971 example both thrilling and rewarding. One of the unique aspects of this particular coin is how gracefully it ages. Unlike more recent issues whose surfaces tend to dull and flatten quickly, the 1971 10-cent coin often shows a resilience that helps preserve its deeper details even through extensive circulation. This endurance adds to its desirability, because a dirty but structurally intact coin can often be conserved without damaging its natural beauty or historical integrity. The presence of copper in its composition gives it warm undertones that develop more character over time, especially when combined with the natural oxidation of nickel. These complex color layers make the coin visually engaging, enhancing its appeal to collectors who appreciate both rarity and aesthetic charm. As its reputation grows, the 1971 issue has become a cornerstone for collectors building advanced early decimal sets. Its rising value has inspired many hobbyists to revisit family collections, inherited boxes, and old household stashes in hopes of uncovering one of these treasured coins. Because so many have been worn beyond recognition or lost entirely, finding a well-preserved example feels like striking gold. Collectors understand that owning a strong 1971 piece elevates an entire decimal collection, showcasing not only financial value, but also knowledge, patience, and numismatic dedication. The sense of accomplishment that comes from securing one cannot be overstated, especially as competition increases worldwide. What also sets the 1971 10-cent coin apart is its widespread cultural relevance. Beyond its monetary value, it reflects an era of Australian confidence, modern growth, and artistic innovation. The lyrebird remains an iconic symbol, representing adaptability, creativity, and natural heritage, qualities deeply associated with Australian identity. These symbols resonate internationally, making the coin more than a national collectible. It becomes a global ambassador of Australia's culture and history. This cultural symbolism enhances its long-term desirability, especially among collectors who value coins not just for rarity, but for the story they carry. As time continues to distance modern Australia from its early decimal beginnings, coins like the 1971 10-cent gain historical weight and emotional significance. Future generations will look to these early issues as relics of a transformative period in economic development. Their scarcity will deepen, their value will rise, and their appeal will expand across borders. The combination of artistry, rarity, and historical substance ensures that the 1971 Australia 10-cent coin will remain a treasured collectible for decades to come. Whether pursued for investment, history, or admiration, it stands as a lasting symbol of Australia's past and a promising asset for any collector who understands its true worth. Third, the 1974 Australia 10-cent coin has become one of the most surprising legends of the early decimal era, rising from an ordinary circulation piece to a highly sought-after numismatic treasure. Struck less than a decade after Australia embraced the decimal system in 1966, this coin carries the spirit of a nation transitioning into modern currency while still honoring its traditions and artistic heritage. Even in very dirty condition, the 1974 issue holds a sense of age and authenticity that collectors find deeply compelling. Every stain, every patch of discoloration, and every trace of wear becomes a silent witness to the decades it has survived in pockets, purses, shops, and forgotten drawers. As one of the foundational decimal coins, it captures a defining moment in Australia's monetary evolution and represents a tangible link to the country's changing economic identity. While officially categorized as a cupronickel coin, many collectors recognize the subtle copper warmth that emerges as the metal oxidizes over decades, especially on pieces that have accumulated dirt and patina. This aging effect gives circulated specimens from 1974 a unique two-tone character that sets them apart from modern mintages. The real challenge lies in finding a coin from this year that still retains its structural integrity beneath that surface grime. Most were heavily circulated, leaving very few that still display clean lettering, a well-defined portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, and the sharp lyrebird details that mark higher-grade examples. Coins that survive with these qualities intact, despite dirt, discoloration, or age, are exceedingly rare and often command extraordinary attention. It is this rarity, especially in very fine or better condition, that fuels the rising value of the 1974 Australia 10-cent coin. The market for early decimal issues has exploded, and collectors now pay anywhere from $1,000 to $9,000 or more for strong examples depending on grading outcomes, strike quality, and eye appeal. What makes this especially remarkable is that the coin was never designed to be rare. It was everyday currency. But heavy usage, natural metal degradation, and general public neglect over 50 years have made well-preserved survivors extraordinarily uncommon. The combination of scarcity, historical importance, and growing global interest has transformed these coins into high-value collectibles that often exceed expectations at auctions and private sales. The investment potential of the 1974 10-cent coin grows stronger every year as seasoned collectors and new investors alike recognize the increasing value of early decimal issues. Coins minted during transitional periods often gain value with time, especially once collectors realize that many were lost, melted, or worn beyond recovery. The 1974 edition sits perfectly within this trend, old enough to carry weight, scarce enough to be worth chasing, and visually distinctive enough to leave a lasting impression. Investors view it as a long-term appreciating asset, one that benefits from both its rarity and its historical charm. As more collectors cut their teeth on early decimal coins, the competition for high-grade examples will only intensify. Collectors hopping to secure a valuable 1974 specimen must pay close attention to condition, even when dealing with coins in dirty or heavily aged states. Dirt alone does not determine value. The real treasure lies beneath. If rim strength remains solid, if the queen's portrait is still crisp, and if the lyrebird's flowing feathers retain separation and depth, the coin may qualify for a very fine or extremely fine grade once professionally conserved. Certification by trusted grading services adds confidence and often boosts resale value because it confirms authenticity, condition, and rarity. Understanding grading standards, from fine to mint state, helps collectors avoid overpaying for worn pieces and focus on acquiring coins with true long-term potential. The importance of joining numismatic communities cannot be overstated, especially when collecting early decimal Australian coins like the 1974 issue. These communities offer collective knowledge that helps new collectors navigate the complexities of grading, metal behavior, market trends, and preservation techniques. Many of the best opportunities to acquire rare coins come through fellow collectors rather than traditional marketplaces, and community connections often lead to discoveries that would otherwise remain hidden. Through shared experience, hobbyists gain the confidence and insight needed to spot undervalued pieces, avoid counterfeits, and understand how even dirty coins can reveal exceptional value with proper evaluation. Historically, The 1974 Australia 10-cent coin stands as a testament to the artistic and cultural identity of the nation during the early years of decimal currency. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II reflects a youthful and unified Commonwealth era, while the lyrebird on the reverse represents Australia's rich natural heritage and unique wildlife. This blend of art and symbolism elevates the coin beyond monetary value, making it a miniature work of cultural expression. As an artifact, it captures the spirit of 1970s Australia, a decade of transformation, confidence, and evolving national identity, preserved in metal for future generations. Over time, the international appeal of this coin has grown significantly, with collectors from Europe, the United States, and Asia seeking early Australian decimal issues for their beauty, composition, and rarity. As surviving high-grade examples become even harder to find, the long-term appreciation of the 1974 10-cent coin is virtually guaranteed. Whether cherished for its cultural symbolism, valued for its investment potential, or admired for its artistic design, it remains one of the most compelling numismatic treasures of its era. Its story continues to unfold, its value continues to rise, and its significance in Australia's coinage history grows deeper with every passing year. The 1974 Australia 10-cent coin continues to captivate collectors because it embodies the unpredictable journey of everyday currency transforming into a high-value collectible. Many of these coins spent decades in circulation, exposed to the harsh realities of daily use, resulting in heavy wear, surface grime, and partial loss of detail. Yet this very aging process adds to their mystique. When a dirty 1974 coin still reveals strong structural features beneath its surface, it feels almost miraculous, like uncovering a relic that defied time itself. The contrast between its rough exterior and the hidden beauty underneath makes each discovery thrilling, and collectors cherish the idea that even the most unassuming coin may conceal extraordinary worth. Another compelling aspect of the 1974 issue is the resilience of its metal composition. Cupronickel alloys often dull and tarnish with age. But this particular year tends to show a distinctive layering of tones that enhances its vintage appearance. As copper traces within the alloy subtly emerge through decades of oxidation, the coin develops a warm, aged glow that cannot be replicated artificially. This natural evolution in color gives the 1974 coin a depth of character rarely seen in modern issues. Collectors often note that even heavily circulated pieces have a unique charm, making them desirable despite dirt or discoloration. This blend of durability, detail retention, and visual personality contributes greatly to its rising status in the numismatic community. Its increasing value has also influenced the way collectors approach early decimal coins. Many hobbyists who once focused solely on pre-decimal silver or rare era coins have broadened their interests as they realize how dramatically the market has shifted. The 1974 10-cent coin has become a benchmark for this change, serving as proof that early decimal pieces can achieve the same legendary status as older, classic coins. This shift has encouraged collectors to revisit their stored coin jars, inherited boxes, and long-neglected collections in hopes of uncovering overlooked decimal treasures. As more stories emerge about lucky finds hidden in plain sight, the excitement surrounding this coin only grows stronger. Culturally, the 1974 10-cent coin holds significance far beyond its metal composition or face value. It reflects a time when Australia was confidently embracing a modern identity while still honoring tradition through art and symbolism. The lyrebird, one of the country's most iconic native animals, expresses creativity, adaptability, and originality, traits that resonate deeply with Australians and appeal to collectors worldwide. This combination of cultural meaning and artistic design helps elevate the coin into a piece of living heritage. It represents not just currency, but a moment in history preserved in metal, linking generations of Australians through the hands that once carried it. As decades continue to pass, the long-term appreciation of the 1974 Australia 10-cent coin becomes increasingly certain. Coins from the early decimal transition will only become more historically significant as they age, especially since so many have been worn away or lost entirely. International collectors continue to drive demand, recognizing the artistic, historical, and investment value embedded in each surviving piece. For collectors who secure a strong example, whether graded, in fine condition, or even discovered beneath layers of dirt, the reward goes beyond monetary value. It is the satisfaction of owning a rare and meaningful artifact, one whose story grows richer with time and whose legacy will endure for generations to come. Fourth, the 1981 Australia 10-cent coin has become one of the most unexpected rising stars in the world of numismatics. A coin that once passed quietly through daily circulation, but now stands as a symbol of rarity, historical importance, and incredible investment potential. Struck 15 years after Australia transitioned to decimal currency in 1966, the 1981 issue still carries the spirit of that early decimal era, bridging the gap between the foundational years and the modern age of production. Even in very dirty condition, this coin holds a depth of history that collectors find irresistible, because every speck of grime and every patch of discoloration represents decades of circulation and survival. As one of the later representatives of Australia's early decimal coinage, it captures an era when the nation's new currency system was becoming deeply rooted in everyday life, while still preserving the artistic and cultural identity that defined the early designs. Although classified as a cupronickel coin, the presence of copper in the alloy becomes more visible as the surface ages, particularly on coins that have been exposed to harsh circulation environments. Dirty or heavily toned 1981 examples often reveal warm underlying hues, making each coin visually unique. The true challenge lies not in finding a dirty coin, but in finding one that has survived with its core features intact. Most 1981 coins were heavily used, tossed into jars, rubbed against surfaces, and handled until their fine details softened or disappeared entirely. A coin from this year that still shows crisp lettering, a clear portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, and distinct lyrebird feather patterns beneath the grime is extraordinarily rare, especially at the very fine grade that investors and collectors value most. It is this extreme scarcity and high-quality condition that drives the ever-increasing value of the 1981 Australia 10-cent coin. Despite being a modern decimal piece, strong examples can command staggering prices, often ranging from $1,000 to $9,000 or even higher when professionally graded. The market surge for early decimal coins has turned public attention toward this overlooked year, with collectors racing to evaluate their older stashes and inherited collections for hidden gems. The 1981 issue benefits not only from condition-based rarity, but also from the cultural and financial nostalgia tied to the early decades of Australia's decimal monetary system. As the collector community grows and more people enter the hobby, the demand for these coins has skyrocketed, making the 1981 10-cent one of the most surprising high-value pieces of its generation. The investment potential of this coin continues to expand, with many seeing it as a long-term appreciating asset. Coins from transitional eras, those that sit between early adoption and full modernization, often gain value as time passes and as collectors realize how few have survived in desirable grades. The 1981 10-cent sits in this ideal zone. It is old enough to be historical but modern enough that many collectors still underestimate its rarity. This combination allows investors to enter the market before prices climb even further. As awareness spreads and examples become harder to source, the trajectory of its value appears firmly upward, making it a strategic addition to both beginner and advanced collections. Collectors seeking a valuable 1981 specimen must focus on condition above all else. Dirt or discoloration does not diminish value. What matters is the strength of the underlying details. If the rims remain sharp, the Queen's portrait retains its original depth, and the lyrebird feathers show separation and clarity, the coin could achieve a competitive grade once examined by a professional. Sending coins for certification ensures their authenticity and locks in their market value through protective encapsulation. Understanding grading terms such as very fine, extremely fine, and mint state empowers collectors to select coins with true potential rather than being misled by surface appearance alone, especially when evaluating dirty but structurally sound examples. Becoming part of numismatic communities significantly enhances a collector's knowledge and opportunities with coins like the 1981 10-cent issue. These communities offer invaluable resources, including shared expertise, grading insights, and opportunities to buy or trade coins that may not appear on mainstream platforms. Many exceptional finds have originated not from auctions, but from private exchanges and collector groups, where individuals openly discuss their discoveries and knowledge. Joining these networks helps collectors gain a deeper understanding of metal behavior, historical context, and market trends, ultimately guiding them towards smarter purchases and more confident evaluations. In terms of numismatic history, the 1981 Australia 10-cent coin represents more than a monetary artifact. It captures a piece of Australia's cultural identity during a period of modernization and growth. The reverse design featuring the elegant lyrebird reflects the country's deep connection to its natural environment and artistic heritage. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II connects the coin to a distinct moment in Commonwealth history. As a historical artifact, it preserves the essence of Australia's evolving identity, its economic transition, its artistic brilliance, and its cultural continuity, within a small but powerful piece of metal. Over the years, its international appeal has grown steadily, with collectors from around the world drawn to early Australian decimal coins for their durability, symbolism, and rarity. As top-condition 1981 examples become increasingly scarce, the long-term appreciation of this coin appears assured. Whether valued for its cultural meaning, investment strength, or historical significance, the 1981 Australia 10-cent coin stands as a remarkable testament to the beauty and depth of numismatic history. With its charm, resilience, and undeniable legacy, it promises to remain a treasure for future generations and an enduring highlight of any serious coin collection. As this 1981 Australia 10-cent coin continues to circulate through global markets and collector networks, its value is influenced not only by its age or rarity, but also by the evolving psychology of collectors worldwide. Many investors now view such coins as emotional assets, items that carry stories, national pride, and the thrill of possibility. The dirt, stains, and discoloration on a 1981 example often act like historical fingerprints, proving that the coin has lived through decades of real-world interaction, from pockets to cash registers to collections. This natural aging gives it a unique personality, distinguishing it from polished or artificially cleaned examples, which often lose market desirability. The more authentic the wear, the more compelling its story becomes. And collectors are increasingly paying a premium for coins that look naturally aged rather than manipulated. This coin has also become a topic of increasing interest among young numismatists who see it not only as a potential investment, but as a gateway to understanding how economic and cultural systems evolve. The 1981 10-cent piece offers these learners a tangible connection to Australia's monetary shift from pounds to dollars, highlighting the nation's commitment to modernization. Educational institutions and hobby groups often include this coin in their teaching materials, using it as a model to explain grading scales, minting processes, and the effects of circulation over long periods. As more institutions incorporate numismatics into museums, exhibitions, and workshops, demand for historically relevant pieces like this continues to rise. And with higher demand comes greater competition, which naturally fuels an upward trend in pricing. The growing interest from international collectors has also given the 1980 110-cent coin a global platform. Instead of being confined to Australian enthusiasts, this coin is now traded across North America, Europe, and parts of Asia, where numismatists look for undervalued but historically significant decimal-era coins. The design, featuring the iconic lyrebird, adds strong aesthetic appeal, and many foreign collectors are attracted to its artistic character even before they learn about its rarity or market value. This cross-border appreciation boosts the coin's long-term stability, as value backed by multiple markets tends to grow steadily instead of fluctuating wildly. The more eyes that turn toward it, the more likely it is to become a globally recognized numismatic classic. As the years pass, collectors are also beginning to view this coin as a cultural artifact that represents resilience, adaptation, and national identity. To many Australians, the lyrebird symbolizes creativity, beauty, and the unique biodiversity of the continent, giving the coin emotional meaning beyond financial worth. Even in dirty condition, with years of wear etched across its surface, the 1980 110-cent coin radiates the charm of a bygone era. It becomes a reminder of early decimal currency, old shopping counters, vintage markets, and the rhythmic evolution of Australia's daily life. When collectors hold such a coin, they feel as though they're touching a living piece of culture, one that grows increasingly precious as modern technology pushes society further away from physical currency. Ultimately, the long-term appreciation of this coin is driven by more than scarcity. It is fueled by storytelling, historical weight, and the emotional value that only time can create. As the global coin market continues to expand and investors search for secure, meaningful assets, the 1981 Australia 10-cent coin stands out as a piece with exceptional potential. Whether placed in private collections or passed down through generations, it is a coin that promises not only financial growth, but also a lasting legacy of heritage and memory. Over the next decades, as surviving high-grade specimens become even rarer and demand intensifies, its value is expected to climb steadily, making it a treasure that rewards both the heart and the wallet of anyone wise enough to preserve it today.